I never thought that one thoughtless remark could undo everything I had created with my husband. Yet here I am, faced with the icy gap that now exists between us, understanding far too late how harmful my words truly were. My name is Emily. I'm 32, and I once believed our marriage was rock solid. I believed that no matter what I said or how far I went, Michael, my husband of 6 years, would always stay. He was the calm force balancing my disorder, the steady presence who endured my teasing, who absorbed my sarcasm and subtle jabs with quiet patience. I convinced myself I could joke about anything, push limits whenever I wanted, and he would always let it slide. That certainty, that feeling of safety, made me careless. It was a Thursday night, and we were visiting friends for a relaxed get-together. Nothing extravagant, just a handful of close couples, wine flowing, laughter filling the room, and that constant hum of conversation that makes an evening feel warm and alive. Social gatherings were never Michael's favorite, but he went anyway because he knew how much I enjoyed them. I had been looking forward to it all week, picturing easy fun and playful banter. At first, everything felt normal. I laughed at small jokes, clinked glasses, and caught up with people I hadn't seen in a while. As the night went on, though, the conversation drifted toward relationships, how couples deal with conflict, their strengths and flaws, and the subtle power dynamics that reveal who really holds control. Without pausing, without considering the impact of my words, I made a joke about Michael in front of everyone. Smiling, I said, if anyone ever questioned his manhood, they wouldn't need to worry. He'd probably need me to step in and show him how it's done. Laughter exploded around the room. I told myself it wasn't meant to be cruel. It was only a joke. I assumed Michael would laugh it off, brush it aside, just as he always had. But when I looked at him, his smile was strained, empty, and brief. Something had changed, quietly, but unmistakably. The rest of the evening carried an uncomfortable tension. Michael barely spoke, offering polite nods when spoken to, but the closeness we shared was gone. He wasn't sulking or visibly angry. It was something deeper, a withdrawal that felt deliberate and final. Oblivious, I kept talking, nudging a friend, stretching the joke a little further, thinking I was easing the mood. Instead, every word felt heavier. Every laugh that followed felt like another wound. Another confirmation that I had crossed a line I hadn't even noticed. When the night ended, Michael didn't wait for me like he usually did. He quietly took his coat, gave a small nod, and walked out. I called after him with a light joke, pretending he was just irritated. But the way he didn't turn around, didn't respond at all, said more than anything else could. In the car, I tried to break the silence with casual remarks about the evening, but his replies were short, clipped, each one like another brick added to the wall between us. Finally, worn down, I turned to him and said, "Michael, are you really still upset about that joke? I didn't mean anything by it." His hands tightened on the steering wheel, his jaw clenched, eyes fixed ahead. When he spoke, his voice was calm, but sharp enough to hurt. "It's not just the joke, Emily. It's how you've talked to me for years. You make me feel small, like I'm less of a man, every time you decide to be clever at my expense." I was stunned, instantly defensive. In my mind, that teasing had always been part of us, playful, harmless. "Come on," I said, forcing a laugh, trying to downplay the seriousness. "It's just a joke." But his rigid posture, the stillness in his hands, made it clear this went far beyond one comment. It was about every careless dig, every public joke, every subtle way I had undermined him while telling myself it didn't matter. When we got home, I expected things to settle. He'd cool off, maybe roll his eyes, maybe even joke back later. Instead, he unlocked the door, walked past me, and said nothing. That night, he didn't come to bed. The distance between us, once abstract, had become real and physical within our walls. The silence continued the next morning. I tried to talk to him, cautiously reaching for the comfort we once shared. Every attempt was met with a nod or a brief acknowledgement. "No worms. No es mai." Finally, sitting at the kitchen table, I confronted him. "Michael, are you really still mad? It was just a joke." Frustration crept into my voice. He met my eyes calmly and said words I will never forget. "It's not the joke, Emily. It's years of jokes. Years of comments that made me feel small, inadequate, less than. I'm tired of pretending it doesn't hurt. I can't keep living like this, feeling diminished by the person I love most." Those words hit harder than any argument ever could. I tried to respond, to explain, to apologize, but he shook his head, stood up, and walked out. "No shouting. No accusations." Just a quiet, firm finality that left me frozen. The sound of the door closing echoed through the apartment like the end of a chapter one had ignored for far too long. In the days that followed, Michael avoided me completely. He didn't answer calls or messages. The warmth of our home felt empty and unfamiliar. I tried to justify it, telling myself he needed space, that he would return, that it was temporary. But deep inside, I knew something fundamental had changed. The trust and respect I had taken for granted were broken. Alone, scrolling through old photos of us, I finally understood the depth of my mistake. The humor I thought was harmless, The teasing I called playful had slowly worn away the foundation of our marriage. The man I underestimated, the man I believed would always forgive me, had reached his breaking point. All that remained was regret and the painful truth that words, even spoken lightly, carry consequences. This is where I finally understand what I ignored for so long. Respect isn't optional, and love without it can quietly destroy even the strongest connection. The man who had been my anchor, my calm, my partner showed his strength not through anger, but through silence. And within that silence, I saw the full weight of my actions. The hurt, the disappointment, and the irreversible shift in our relationship.